We are being videotaped, so there will be no off-color jokes today. Can everyone hear me with the microphone down here? Do I need to turn it up?
This is 4 o'clock in the morning.
Everybody here okay? Ollie, Austin, 3D. Okay. You sure we don't need a little more volume?
What did you say? I can't.
Okay. Test. Okay, that's better. And let's go to the echo and we'll get figured out. Everybody have a good lunch?
Very early here.
Everybody went out. We have a couple things done here. We're also making audio tape of this event because some people can't be here, so we're going to make an audio tape available. And that should be just fine. Okay. We learned a lot today, and I want you to help me a little bit. If you don't have anybody on your right, go to the next row and get somebody on your right. And we are going to do a little exercise called Wake Up After Lunch. And give the person on your right a massage. You got to scoot together. On your right. Go over and get him. You have time for your feet. Okay. That gives us the opportunity to talk about the things you're going to learn in the next hour or so. A lot of them are due to physiology. Physiology is one of the most important things that you can pay attention to in terms of your personal development and communication. Of course, it helps you get up earlier in the morning. What's the thing to make sure you want to get up in the morning? Anybody ever laid under the covers in the morning, just didn't want to get up? We all have, right? One time or another. The secret to getting up in the morning, listen to this very important secret, it's not going to be a secret anymore, is know the night before what you're going to be doing the next day. You have a pre-framed idea first thing in the morning that you set in work the day before. You will get out of bed with a sense of purpose every single morning because you know what you're going to accomplish that day. You got a few seats in the front. All those people that are late, you just missed a massage. I'd like to take a quick poll. And everybody raise your hand if you've been in business 10 years or longer. Great. 15 years or longer. Super. 5 years or longer? That's it. And 5 years or longer. Everybody, of course, that has already had their hand up before us. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to take some things to the next higher level. Because that's my goal, is to contribute to you. And has anybody figured out what this is costing on a per hour basis? Per clock hour that you got today that you paid for? Somebody figured it out. So I got an HP. $45, 7.5 clock hours, $6.50, something like that, right? Okay? I'm going to make sure that you get your money's worth. How many people use this product? Or one like it, similar to it. Fabric softener in the dryer to keep stuff from getting static clean. Okay? This is called Bounce, and they all come like this. It's pretty much the same product. But Bounce has little slits cut in it. And Bounce, this is a 4 times your money. 1, 2, 3, 4. You only need one of these. to get your entire dryer load of laundry not having any static cleaning. This costs, you get 60 sheets on sale. It's $3.69. Usually it'll last you 60 loads of wash. 4 times your money, 240 loads of wash. That more than pays for your course. Okay? Right there. More than pays for this hour. Your home free. Okay. This Hellweis, I don't know if Hellweis knows about it or not, but maybe somebody should write her and take $50. Or a Reader's Digest or something like that. I noticed incidentally that the most recent bounce doesn't have the slits in it. And so you have to get a pair of scissors to make your money 4 times. I mean, it takes 10 minutes. You put 10 of them, cut them in 4, sometimes 5 if you're really stingy or you have small loads, you know, something like that. And there you go. Okay. I'd like to know what is the best personal development book you have ever read? Give me some. Just shout them out.
7 Habits.
7 Habits. Okay.
Power of Positive Thinking.
Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. Wonderful.
First Things First.
First Things First. Who's the author?
Stephen
Covey. Stephen Covey? Okay. First Things First by Stephen Covey also.
The Bible.
The Bible. Thank you very, very much. It's wonderful. Wonderful thought.
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Absolutely. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Terrible name for one of the best books I've ever read. It's just absolutely wonderful book, and you can buy them used for $2. How many people have read this book? Okay, that's about 1/3 of the room. The other 2/3 of you, buy and read this book. I guarantee you it will improve your life. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I guarantee you it will improve your life and your productivity on the job. And the thing that is that you can take a section of it and read it at night in 5 minutes. It will improve how you think about your personal communication and involvement with other people every single day. The question?
Specifically for commercial real estate and intimidation.
Winning Through Intimidation
Robert Rimmer.
by Robert Ringer. And some of you know a fellow named Ray Schuler used to work for me. It was his favorite book. He's read that book probably 5 or 10 times. It's good for defensive strategies as anything else. When somebody comes in and tries to intimidate the heck out of you, it lets you understand what they're doing. So, Winning Through Intimidation by Robert Ringer. His other books are pretty much the same as Winning Through Intimidation, so get Winning Through Intimidation and you got it. While we're on resources, a lot of these resources are not new. The principle is you pick them and you practice them and you apply them, even though you've heard them before. Here's a book called Assuring Business Profits. I found this by James Rand, Remington Rand Company. Turn of the century stuff. 1920s. I'm just going to read a short section. Several captains of industry were discussing the very problem of why the demand for young men of executive caliber far exceeds the supply. And they were discussing this at a Union League club in New York, very exclusive executive businessmen's club. One of them put the question, why is there such a scarcity of young men for the big positions in business? Argument ensued that lasted for the balance of the afternoon. They finally agreed on the answer. The young man could not keep his mouth shut. One of them told a promising fellow had been sent to Arizona by a great railroad to buy a certain piece of land that was going to complete the section of the railroad. He kept his mouth shut almost all the way there, and as he passed the place that he was going to buy, he mentioned to the fellow next to him that that's what the railroad had sent him there to do. He didn't notice that the fellow across the aisle in the train got off the very next stop, rented a horse, went back there, and bought the land. And the young guy had to pay $30,000 more for that land, and because he was 30 minutes late, just because he opened his mouth. It goes on to say that absolute frankness is advisable between individuals directly connected with a business deal, but talking about it to others is a high crime and misdemeanor that often has fatal consequences. For one thing, such breaches of confidence start whisperings and rumors among those who are not at all concerned. These gossipings grow rapidly, and soon the atmosphere is charged with the idea that something is going to happen. Everyone is upset, and the organization suffers. It goes on to say that it doesn't think that people should talk confidential company affairs to anyone outside the company, including one's wife. In this day and age, it would be one's spouse. But this is something that, as a commercial realtor, you understand has got to be your credo. Absolutely, you cannot discuss the inner workings of what you're supposed to be doing with anyone not directly related to it. The biggest problem that I've seen in this industrial real estate over the years is people planning a new plant, planning a new business. If the word comes back to their own employees, the employees don't understand the full technical reality of making a big move happen. Rumors start. People start fearing for their jobs. They lose sleep. They worry at night. They have all kinds of problems and foldouts from that. And you just cannot get that ball rolling. It's your integrity, it's your fiduciary responsibility to your client to not allow that to happen. Give me a definition for success.
Happiness.
Happiness? Okay, I'll take happiness. How do you know when you're successful?
Success and realization of predetermined worthwhile goals.
Okay, that's real close. That's my favorite, is that the definition of success is a progressive realization of a defined set of goals. It's not having money, not having anything else, having whatever it is that you decide you want to have and that you want to take the steps to accomplish. Does anybody have anything that they like better than that?
Loving what you do.
Loving what you do. Okay? And if you're loving what you do, it means that you are accomplishing things that you decide that you wanted to accomplish, because that's what creates happiness. So it all works together. Write those things down. Take them with you. Then I can see everybody's hands shooting up saying, I know what success is. So write it down and take it with you. It's an important thing. I'm going to talk about some of the resources that I've used to develop my business and myself. And I'm going to start over here with just normal rating. Have you heard of a fellow named Mike Vance? Mike Vance, one. Mike Vance developed Disney University for Walt Disney. He was head of the creative team that made Disneyland work after it opened up and was a dismal failure at the start. He was the man who was charged with packaging Walt Disney's creative mind into a process that transferred into every single employee, and he ran that whole educational process. He now runs a business called the Creative Thinking Institute, I think it's called. Creative Thinking Association of America. He teaches nothing but creative thinking. And my wife and I, my wife Barbara, running a video camera, had the opportunity to take a course from Mike Vance with just about 40 other people, and for a whole week, and it was just amazing. Mike Vance reads 300 books a year. He gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning and reads for at least an hour and a half every day before he starts his day with anything. I would advise you that if you want to do any one thing that will improve your life, read for at least 30 minutes every day, something. Get in the process and habit of reading. This is a fun book. How many people read this book? I've read one or two. It's just fun. Anybody living in the Great Northwest ought to know a little bit about Bill Gates. And this is an unauthorized biography and stuff like that. But it's fun. Tapes. How many people listen to their tapes, listen to educational tapes while they're driving their car to and from appointments? That's not enough. How many people have tape decks in their cars? Okay, you're not using a resource that you need to use. You can be educating yourself with a half an hour a day just by listening. Now, one thing is very important. When you listen to educational things, when you listen to information, you don't get out of it the same thing as when you see it and watch it and interact in it. So you have to listen to stuff more than once or twice. Don't listen to an educational set of tapes and then put them on the shelf and not listen to them again. You got to listen to them. One psychologist says 27 times. 27 times, and you got it. You get points, and you remember them for a while, and then you think, boy, I got to listen to that again because there's a part that I'm missing. See some heads nodding of the people that listen to tapes regularly. So, get tapes. There's a wonderful operation out that does nothing but personal development tapes called Nightingale Conant. How many people get a Nightingale Conant catalog? Come up to me, I'll give you their 800 number after the class. In fact, I can give you right now. One here. 1-800-323-5552. They're the world's largest producer of audio cassette programs. They put out over 1.5 million sets a year. Everybody from Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer to Tony Robbins, everybody, they got them. And they've got a catalog. And they come with a money-back guarantee. 30 days you try them, you don't like them, you can send them back. I've done that just recently, the first time. All the ones that we bought, I finally sent one back. And this is one by a guy named Jim Hansberger, nice guys finish rich. It's all about the ethics of doing business. This guy took a course from him about a month ago in Phoenix, has this incredible set of principles, and he's such a sound moral man, and he's just an incredible investor, counselor, and he's John Templeton's right-hand man, has been for 20 years. John Templeton, as you know, is the world's foremost money manager of all time. He made more money for people than any other individual. It doesn't all have to be directly business related. I've gotten a lot out of Deepak Chopra. How many people heard of Deepak Chopra? And Deepak Chopra says your mind and your body are interrelated, and you should pay attention to that. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Something that's been really big for me in the last 2 years under Tony Robbins is a thing called Living Health. Living Health explains how to live a life that has more energy in it. It can solve a lot of your problems by changing what you eat and how you eat it and when you eat it. Tony Robbins actually was, I didn't realize it until early on, was a co-author in this book called Fit for Life, which is the highest selling personal diet book, personal lifestyle book ever. And Tony Robbins is actually a co-author of this, although it didn't show up in the titles. So Fit for Life by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond. You can read sections of it and not have to worry about the whole thick book. While we're on the physical deal, how many people have rebounders? You know what a rebounder is? A rebounder, as you can see one here, we've got one. A rebounder balances the right and the left brain. So if you want to feel really centered and in control and calm, spend 10 to 15 minutes on a rebounder, just bouncing up and down. The function is that you spend part of your time at the apex of your jump, weightless. So it's also a good body toner. So this is a book called The Miracles of Rebound Exercise. It's got a lot of different exercises that you can do to prepare for skiing and a lot of other things, other sports. Dynamics of Goal Setting by Dennis Waitley. Quite frankly, I've had goal setting up to here. It can be very simple. It should be very simple, and we should let it be simple. Mike Vance, absolutely delightful. He's one of the 5 or 6 top requested speakers in the country. And his stuff's available directly from him, and his number is 1-800-445-6677. He's in Cleveland, Ohio, and he'll send you stuff. One of the greatest things in my life that I had the opportunity to witness last year was to talk and spend some time with John Gray, wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. The best book on relationships. It tells about how men and women think different. How many people know how and why men and women think different? 3 or 4 of us. Get Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. The tapes are wonderful too. This guy's a relationships counselor, but before he was a relationships counselor, spent 9 years as a monk. As a celibate monk. And so when he got into relationships, it was with a real gusto. 7 basic habits of highly effective people. If you pick up one of them and do it, book. The Awakened Life, one of the nicest, most peaceful books on spirituality that I've ever listened to by a guy named Dr. Wayne Dyer. Neat man. Tony Robbins, of course. Unleash the Power Within, and I'll give you a commercial. On May 12th through the 15th, there's an Unleash the Power Within weekend in Vancouver, BC. It's $695 for 3 days, and be prepared to immerse yourself in a whole beliefs challenging world. You start out the seminar walking on 12 feet of 2,000-degree coals. And about 90% of the people actually do it. And you don't think you can do it until you do it, but you do. And that's the metaphor for the rest of the weekend, is you dispel with these fears right away. And after that, you're open up to learning. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. Anybody done that? Now your head went down when you said that. Did you walk on fire? Great. Was it fun? Yeah. It was a lot easier than you thought, wasn't it? In fact, you finish it and you think, did I just do that? Was the secret? I'll tell you what the secret of walking on fire is. What you do is control your physiology to the point where you alter the electromagnetic balance on the surface of your skin. You excite yourself to the point where the electromagnetic field that's on the surface of all our skin and the electromagnetic field of the fire, oxidizing rapidly, they interfere with each other. And then you control that. You can control that with your own physical state and level of excitement. And so when you do that, then of course you walk across the fire and you don't burn. I've done 40 feet, and it was a gas. It was really a lot of fun. I watched people that didn't control their state and burn their feet too. And so you need to have some fear about it. It's a good thing to have a little bit of fear in your life. And those are the tapes. Zig Ziglar, he's been around a long time. But listening to people, how many people listen to Zig Ziglar? Okay, Zig Ziglar is just plain fun, and you get something out of it, and it lifts you up. Get a Zig Ziglar tape. Norman Schwarzkopf, great book. How many people read this book? Oh, that's not enough. Norman Schwarzkopf, one of the greatest leaders of our time that we know, we've watched, his results. He believes in his people so much. This guy is people. When we were talking in a class we took from him in Hawaii last year, people asked him, if you had a substantial problem at home and your wife called and said, I need you here, and you were in something like running the Gulf War, what would you do? His answer was, without a hesitation, I would go home. My family is first, absolutely first. So if I haven't set up with my leadership skills an operation that will take place in my absence, if I need to be gone, then I've made a big mistake. So keep that in mind. Keep your priorities in place, and you will be more comfortable. I'm going to break from resources for a minute. We can go on and on about resources. Who knows what is the root of all anxiety? Who knows? Fear. Okay, fear is a good thought. Fear is a cause of anxiety. Anybody else? Being out of control. Okay, that's good. That's close to what I'm looking for.
The unknown.
The unknown. Okay. Okay, I'll buy that.
Ignorance.
Ignorance.
Jealousy.
Jealousy. Okay. I submit that the cause of all anxiety is uncompleted action. Action that you need to take, that you haven't taken, have procrastinated about, have put off, but action that needs to be taken is what causes anxiety. So, relating to our jobs, the guy you haven't called bothers you at night. You wonder what he's going to think. You know what he's going to think. You think. You find out that maybe he didn't think that when you call him. He says, "Oh, that's all right. I was doing something else anyway." What a relief you got by that event. Anxiety is caused by uncompleted action. So how do you reduce the anxiety in your life?
Do it now.
Do it now. Prioritize your needed actions in accordance with what is causing you the greatest degree of anxiety. Do those first. Not the ones that will make you the most money or think you have the greatest opportunity, or the guy that's calling that says he's got to talk to you now. Whatever it is really causing you the most anxiety, do that one first. And then the next, and then the next. I guarantee you will sleep better. How many people have trouble getting sleep at night? Okay? And others that might not raise their hand because you do. There's a non-drug that is a hormone balancer called melatonin. M-E-L-A-T-O-N-I-N. You usually have to get it from a naturopathic doctor or a health food store by special order. It's not expensive, and a little bit of it triggers your sleep hormone. That when you change your day from wakefulness to sleep, it's actually a hormonal change that goes on in your body. So melatonin triggers that change. It's especially good for jet lag. If you want to go to sleep right away, and melatonin is the thing that all the rock stars take and everything like that. It's not a drug, you'll see. It just plain works. You just all of a sudden, it's sleep time now. And it works great. Also works good on children if they have trouble balancing their way into sleep. But I'll tell you, the best thing I found for getting a child ready to sleep, I got a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, and one on the way, is that rebounder. You put them on that rebounder, and all of a sudden they're centered and they're balanced, and it's just like they just walk right in, they skip right in, and just go to sleep. Rebounders at Sports Authority, $44. Now, $44 to get a child to sleep when you want them to, or into the night. Okay. How many people keep a daily journal? Great. That's a nice number of hands to see. You really, if your life's worth living, it's worth writing down. Do that. Get yourself a journal that has just lines on the pages. For the longest time, I wondered, these people that are making books with no words in them and getting $6 and $7 a piece for a pretty cover, they're making a ton of stuff, and people buy them. Well, my wife bought them, and she showed me what she was doing. And then Tony Robbins told me that I really ought to be writing it down. And you know, I've got so much out of reviewing what I wrote down. It's made a quantum leap in my personal development, and I can go back and I can target what I thought wrong that made a deal for it. And it really applies directly to your business. And I do a combination now with another tool, which is personal, people call them a day timer. How many people use a system like this to keep track of their appointments, their days? Great, okay. And And I take it even one step further. This is a nice little piece. It's put out by the company Daytimer, but it's got a place to write notes and extra pages, put extra pages in it for deals I'm working on. So I can really, I can't lose this. I'll tell you, I'd be really lost without it. But I take little notes about how I'm feeling about what I'm doing, and I transfer that and a general set of details into my journal. And you don't have to do it every day, but you need to do it a couple times a week anyway. It really helps. Point.
I've used a mastermind journal for 13 years now by Jack Boland, and it combines settings and goals, meeting with my mastermind partners in my group, setting our monthly, bi-weekly, annual, semi-annual goals, and then got all my schedules with it too.
Mastermind by Jack Bowles.
Jack Boland.
By Jack Boland.
Jack Boland. He actually took it from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich Mastermind.
Do you have an 800 number or something for them?
Not on me, but yes, I do. It's in Warren, Michigan. So if you call it 800 NASCAR, the Mastermind Journal in Warren, Michigan. They have an 800 number. Or you get a hold of me, I'm David Moody, and I'll get it.
Warren, Michigan.
Yep.
I don't know if you can read that or not. By the way, I just found this in the store today. I was wondering what I was going to do for a flip chart in case I need to write something down. This is a portable flip chart. You can wipe these things off. They're reusable sheets. They stick to the walls with static electricity. $18.95 includes what you'll write with. I just think it's a great buy. You can give them to kids to write on the wall, for heaven's sakes. Thank you very much for that. I wasn't aware of that system. And
It's been published for probably 18 years.
great.
Jack Boland died last year.
Jack Boland died because he wrote it down,
Yeah.
didn't he? And he transferred it and he made something out of it. And boy, you'll be surprised at the wealth of knowledge that you can create value with as you tend to write things down and learn more each day. While we're on tools, here's a little tool that not too many people know about or use. Anybody seen a tape recorder like this? What's the advantage of a tape recorder like this? Variable speed. You can listen to an audio tape in about half or 3/4 of the time and hear it and understand it because, just play this here. Variable speed control in. Let's pull in the key. This is Cherry's Fire or something like that. See the point? You can change the pitch so that it doesn't sound all high and squeaky on you. You still get the point, still get the information. Anyway, you can buy a Radio Shack. Variable speed tape recorder. It's mono, it's not stereo, it's not totally state-of-the-art. It's kind of big and clumsy, but it also records. It's kind of interesting. We did an appeal with Pierce County tax assessor earlier this year, and this is what they used to record the meetings. So they've got a pretty good microphone on them, that's useful for that stuff.
Excuse me, are you suggesting that you can listen to tapes at faster speed?
Yes, what I'm suggesting, yes, absolutely. You listen to them at a faster speed, you get more information faster. Because you get information a lot faster than people can talk it. You just speed them up, and that works. How many people use a telephone headset? Okay, the rest of you, yeah. I'm here to tell you that this is an unnatural act. This is an unnatural act, and you don't think as well. Just you don't think as well when you are holding a telephone to your ear, or you've got to do this while you write. It just here, you can walk to your window. You can talk, you can think, you can create in your mind. Oh, it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And they're 45 bucks at Office Depot. You can spend 150 for one, but you don't need to. And they plug right into any phone system, any PBX system. It's all local. These things really work. Take a lesson from the stockbrokers who have expensive ones. Get a cheap one that works. They use batteries and they go through batteries, but it's really, really a great deal. And how many people use one of these? A microcassette recorder. How many people again? Randy, raise your hand if you use one. Okay, the rest of you, you need to use one to capture your thoughts when you need to, when you're driving down the road. How many times have you had a thought, you couldn't write it down, and then you forgot it? $29.95. And you don't lose your thoughts. This is how I write when I go down the road. I see Jeff Lyon's got a listing at 72nd Pacific, a Goodyear building, and I put in here, call Jeff about that building. And I just give the tape to my secretary, and there's all these random thoughts in it where they're typed out for me. Lots of times I forgot that I left that thought until I see the list, and until I see them written out. Absolutely invaluable tool. $29.95. You got to invest in your own abilities. Everybody's got a calculator, right? An HP is a new one. That I know the new one's only $19.95 or $29.95 or something like that, and it's lighter and easier. And Jeff's sitting here saying, "Larson, you are in yesterday." But I like this one. It's so friendly to me, and I paid $100 for it, even though they sell them for $65 now. But always have one with you. And how many people use pagers? How many people watched their cellular telephone bill go down? First of all, is there anybody here that does not have a cellular telephone? Okay. And you can get along without one. I can't. We run our family at the end of the day. That's how my wife and I talk at the end of the day. And I forgot to turn one off. That would have been really rude if that had gone on. My pager saved me about $80 to $90 a month on my cellular telephone bill. And it does a very, very subtle thing. A pager with a number, when the pager goes off, you don't have to respond to it. When your telephone rings, our Pavlovian response is you got to answer it and you got to deal with it. How many people think that about 90% of the time when your car phone rings, it's from somebody you're not expecting a call from? How many people? Really? Everybody, your phone rings, you expect to have gotten that person at that time. Is that right? No, it's not right, is it? And it's an interruption, isn't it? You have to deal with it. And it creates, not an anxiety, but it creates a discomfort. If you have your pager, then the pager goes off, and we use a pager that gives you a digital message, which is really nice. I can say that Ted Cipla called and wants to know about XYZ property. And that's really nice. I know I can delegate that. I can call him back right away. I can meet him. I can do any number of things, but they're all my choices of action. I have to I have to deal with somebody else's requests on the telephone. And my thoughts aren't necessarily organized to be able to deal with it. I'm not particularly efficient. So if you don't have a pager, I'd strongly suggest for the $9.95 a month that you can get just one that gives you a number to call back, that you try it. Just try it. I have to say that when I first tried a pager, I threw it. I wrote the guy a check for $60 for it. I was so bloody mad at the interruption of my thought processes at the time. I don't know exactly what made me transition in thought, but I'll tell you, this puppy saves me, for $20 a month it costs me, it saves me another $80 in my cellular telephone bill because I'm not chasing calls unnecessarily. And I can make calls from the landline when I get back. And I can keep listening to my tape in the car. And I can or I can, but this little machine is great. I've got a meeting in Bellevue. I dictate all the way up and all the way back if I'm not listening to a tape. I've got work to do. It's great for that time that you need so much. That leads me to spacing our appointments. I would strongly suggest that 2 appointments a day is plenty. You can do it. 4 max, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, and spread them out. Give yourself an hour, if you can, between appointments so that you can gather your thoughts, you can take action on what your previous appointment was, and get it done then. If you get it done then, you feel so much better, and boy, is that person that you just dealt with that needs action from you impressed. And they want to deal with somebody in our industry who gets back to them right away. Trust me, I spent too much of my life the other way, making excuses for why I was late. I'm standing here teaching this because I have learned this one the real hard way. I've lost some really valuable clients by trying to get too much done in too short a time and not get anything done well. Just lighten up. Spread them out. You'll be surprised that if you just tell the person that wants to meet with you that I can give you much better quality of my time if I can meet with you tomorrow instead of today. Could you possibly accommodate that? Almost every time. And if it's really, really important for them, just squeeze it in. You make an exception. But don't live your life crunching too many appointments together because you don't get quality work out. Of course, we know that it's quality work that brings people back the next time. It wants them to deal with you. And when your quality goes up, your income will go up. I absolutely guarantee that. Any questions at this point? I think we need a stretch. This room is warm. Stand up, everybody. Okay. I'll explain why we did this in a minute, but everybody, hands up. Way over your head. Take a deep breath and reach up as high as you can reach. Oh, make that feel good. Take a deep breath in and bend over to your left. Oh, let out a little groan and back over to your right. Okay, and over to the back. Oh, and down over, and doesn't that feel good? Okay, shake it out, shake it out. Just a little bit. Take your coat off, you're still wearing one. Okay, sit down.
Didn't figure that out yet, huh?
Okay, 7th inning stretch, and it's 2 o'clock. And I'm going to break and make an announcement here. There will be a 15-minute break at 2:35 and be back in the room at 2:50. It's now about 2 o'clock. And don't rush off the end of the day. Stay around to network because there will be industry vendors, broker tables, $1 million listing presentations. Of course, you have to do $1 million listing presentations. And of course, a bar. That's not a Davy Crockett kind of bar. It's the kind that has I'm a little bit dismayed the room isn't larger and that we don't have water at each of your tables. Water, good water, increases body strength instantly, ability to focus instantly. Always keep a jar of water on your desk, in your car. Take a good gulp and feel what it does for your ability to deal with whatever you're dealing with. I promise you, it's physiological fact, and it's been proven.
But I see you're still having a hard time giving up your ice.
I know that's
Deepak
provided by
Chopra
them.
says that no ice.
No, the
I've
truth
had a
is,
hard one with it.
the truth is that my water came out of this bottle, and actually, except for this one that somebody poured up here, I just drank and it tasted horrible. But no, they provided that with ice. Yeah, forget the ice. You don't need ice. And it's also a shock to your system to give it really, really cold water. So don't do that. Just water. But how many people drink 2 quarts of water a day? That's the greatest percentage I've been in a while. But you got to do it. 2 quarts of water a day. And you shouldn't be drinking liquids during a meal because it dilutes your digestive juices and you don't get as much out of it. So, and all these things help you think better at a business lunch, after your business lunch. And these are very practically applied, important things to know. Exercise, of course. This is a neat room. I don't see very many people that are more than 10 pounds, 15 pounds overweight. And it's unusual. And I'm really, really pleased with that. Because packing it around there, people that are packing the extra around, you know it. And I'll tell you how to lose weight and eat fat real easy. It doesn't cost anything. Well, it does too. It costs $125. You got to get a heart monitor. How many people own heart monitors? Oh, great. About 4 or 5. You burn fat in your maximum aerobic range. You need to find out what that is, and that's your fat burning range, and you need to do that for 20 minutes a day, at least 3 days a week. If you do that, a number of amazing things happen to your thinking, and to your well-being, to your sleep, and to your confidence level when you're working with people. It is absolutely amazing. Those people that are really physically fit know what I'm talking about. Because I would say, well, one of the people I know is most physically fit in this room is Jeff Linn.
Wait a second.
I said one of the people that...
Stand up, Jeff.
And now I know at one time in Jeff's life how physically fit he wasn't because I used to drink with him. And I know what we did and you know, that kind of thing. But I also know how much better we feel. My number one priority in life, people say, you know, God, family, whatever. My number one priority in life personally is to live a long, long time. If I do the right things and I live a long, long time, then my marriage is going to be better and my relationship with my children is going to be better. I'm going to be around to work longer. How many people think that they're actually going to retire at 65 and not work anymore? It's not in the real estate person's brain process to stop working. Because there's always another deal. There's always another opportunity. Everybody's a self-starter. You know, when people stop working, they start dying. And we are independent. So if you live longer, it means you don't have to make as much money right now, maybe, because you got longer to make it. And you're always going to, you know, be working a little bit. So the pressure comes off. And at least that's my philosophy. And I think that it's really important that you do something to help yourself physically right now and right on from now. How long does it take to build a habit pattern? 6 months. 6 months, every day for 6 months, and that is yours for life. Gerald Coffey. How many people know who Gerald Coffey is? Gerald Coffey, prisoner of war, Vietnam, 7 years in a 3x6 cell. 6.5, actually it was 3x7. And it wasn't half the place. And to hear his story is an amazing thing that will transform how you think about one or two things. Gerald Coffey's attitude after he was shot down, dragged into this prison with a broken shoulder that was not going to get treated, was that I can make it for 6 months. He worked every single day at making it for 6 months. 6 months went by. He said, I made it for 6 months, I can make it for 6 months longer. 7 years until he got out. He came out, he knew 3 or 4 foreign languages. He was stronger spiritually than he'd ever been. He decided to do the right thing with his mind and his ability and his pride and his personal level of commitment to himself and God, a number of other things. But it was that first 6 months that practicing that gave him the habit pattern that allowed him to go on for the rest of the time. And it was 6 months at a time. And it's been proven in other psychological testing circles that if you set a habit pattern in place, then you've got it. How many people know physiologically what a habit pattern is made up of? Nerve endings. Nerve endings. Every habit pattern process actually evidenced in your brain by nerve endings connected together. The fact that you say a thing a certain way, the fact that you react or have a feeling or a statement that you always make, God, I hate it when they do that. That is a habit pattern, and you can undo it. You can change it. There's a psychological process why that I almost have enough information to be able to teach it, and then I'm going to start teaching it. So how to undo a habit pattern that you want to undo and put another one in its place. How many people have at least one habit pattern they would like to change? Yeah. Okay. And I know people that change 1 or 2 a day and have been for years. And this really, really works. You can scramble that habit pattern. But what happens is that you actually build a physical nerve set that creates your action when you put something in place every day for 6 months. And it's very, very strong, and something really substantial has to happen in order to cause you to stop doing it. So, exercise. Pick 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Start with something. Zig Ziglar, at the age of about 54, 55, was a tubalard, knew a lot, and he started running. How did he start running? Literally the length of this room. So tomorrow, I'm going a little farther. The next day, I'm going a little bit farther yet. Pretty soon he was running miles, he was fit and trim. He didn't go on anybody's magical diet or anything. He just exercised a little bit every day, and everything else started coming into balance. So you can too, and I would strongly suggest as a matter of your personal growth and your own personal productivity that you put something in place that's new, that you know you want to do, and work on it for 6 months. This is May 3rd, June, July, August, September, October 3rd, about. October 3rd, you'll be ready to start on another one. And how many people think that's a good idea? How many people think it's a bad idea? How many people don't care? That's okay too. And what you eat affects what you do. You don't realize that when you eat a lot of fat, your blood changes. Your blood cells literally clump together. How many people knew that? Okay. How many people like it? How many people like thinking of your blood veins and vessels being wrapped in plaque? It's created essentially by cholesterol and fat. Lower makes your blood vessels smaller, creates high blood pressure. Has anybody that's ever washed a car with a nozzle? No. I mean, it's the same principle. You restrict the orifice and you have to increase the pressure to get the same amount of water through it. In this case, blood by your heart, which weakens with the extra work it has to do. 1 out of 2 people in the country die from heart disease. Got it? Okay. Cancer. How to avoid cancer. One of the best ways to avoid cancer is don't eat cooked food late at night. Why? Anybody know why? Pancreas does 2 jobs. One is it creates digestive enzymes. The other thing it does is it creates cancer-fighting antibodies. Now, it creates the cancer-fighting antibodies while your body's at rest. Now, and also it has a priority. It creates the digestive enzymes first, by priority. If there's food in your system, in your stomach and intestines, that needs digesting, the pancreas is going to give it its digestive enzymes first. All the time that it's spent in your relaxed, sleeping state, digesting food, it's not producing cancer-fighting antibodies. So you can get cancer-fighting antibodies working for you by not eating cooked food closer than 4 hours before you go to sleep. 4 hours. Now, every degree of that you can be better. I mean, if you can't do it except for 2 hours, do 2 hours. But keep mindful of it. Now, this question.
Yeah, why do you say cooked food? It implies that raw food is different.
Yes, raw food still has its active enzyme levels. Very good question. Cooked food destroys the enzymes in the food. There aren't any natural enzymes. If you got to eat something that's cooked, and you're in a restaurant or something, everybody's eating late or something, order yourself a great big baked potato with a whole bunch of chopped green onions on top. There's loads of enzymes in chopped green onions, and it'll give you the enzymes that your pancreas doesn't have to supplement, and you'll probably be okay. You can eat an apple. Don't eat too much fruit because it's sugar charged and will give you energy, and then you won't feel sleepy. Real leading cancer tip, besides being in shape and doing something for yourself every day and being positive, is don't eat cooked food late at night. One last item. There's a guy in Tacoma, his name's Alexander Schaus. He's got a company, an operation called the International Journal of Biosocial and Medical Research. He's in our Rotary Club, and he's written a number of articles over the years. And Alex is the leading person in this country who got natural food labeling and natural food stores to be able to not be regulated by the United States Department of Agriculture last year. He was at the head of the movement, and nobody heard him out loud in the press because the press didn't cover it. But Alex testified before Congress and as a representative of the natural foods industry, and that's why you are going to be able to have good natural food stores, which, by the way, for those of you in the commercial real estate business, is the next movement in grocery stores. In retail is natural foods and the like. He wrote an article called Attention Deficit Disorder, a Toxic Response to Ambient Cadmium Air Pollution. ASARCO. Ambient cadmium air pollution. They had people downwind from ASARCO that had this. They had attention deficit disorder. They also had some other extreme effects, physiological effects, that when they changed the diet of the people, their behavior changed radically. One story that comes to mind is they had a criminal teenager from Vashon Island. This kid was going literally to prison. He had terrible, terrible behavior. He was violent, and Alex took hair and blood samples and saw that his base level metals were all out of whack. He changed his diet. 6 months later, the kid was vice president of his class. He was on the football team. He was productive. He was an absolutely new person. Just changed his diet and got the right things. So if you don't think diet's important, you better take another look at how you're living your life. Go a little hungry before you eat. It's a signal that you're burning fat. Water makes you smarter. Chromium helps you focus. Chromium supplement will help you focus. It's physiologically proven in medical tests. Oh, the stretch and breath that we did. How many people know what your lymph system does? It's a sewage collector of your body. It doesn't have a pump. The only way the lymph system gets to work is by deep breathing. Okay, by diaphragmatic breathing. So if you stretch and you take 10 deep breaths, holding them in for 10 seconds or so, 3 times a day, you are going to be healthier, you're going to get fewer colds. That's all it takes to get your lymph system to do its job. Our sedentary life keeps us from being healthy, and that's not good. So deep breaths, lymph system, flushes, makes you better, deals with cold. If you get an infection where you know you got lymph glands swollen, deep breaths. Deep breaths get your lymph system working. Laying in bed doesn't work. It just waits till something happens to make it better, but it takes longer. Okay. Deep breaths, lymph system. That's enough. We've got about 10 minutes left. I would like, anybody have anything that they think that belongs in this seminar that would be of benefit to other people? In the back.
4-letter word, walk.
Walk.
Have I started that about 2 years ago? That I tried for 6 months. Very cheap way of exercise. Numerous things to do because of walking 2 miles a day.
Clears your mind at the end of the day. It's a very peaceful experience. Yeah, and I would plus that with walk fast during the day. If you're going to and from your car, walk fast. You'll be surprised at how much better shape you're in at the end of the day. And I got to get back to water. They ought to have water here. Because hearing people, this is a dry room, and you can't think and you can't concentrate as well. You need water.
A couple things about water. One is, I don't know why we think so cheap and feel guilty about buying the plastic bottles of water. Go to Costco, buy one case, and what I've started doing is I just put one in my car at the beginning of every week, a half a case, and I keep one at the office, and it's like night and day. Because when you get dehydrated, you can't think, you feel bad. I wear contacts, my eyes get scratchy. It's such a simple solution, you know. Just a plastic bottle, I carry with me everywhere.
Any other suggestions? Penny. Cyclocybernetics. You like Maxwell malts? Really, really, really help you. Yes, yes. And there's and even an advanced form of cyclocybernetics by some guys named Grinder and Bandler. This last year, or not this last year, but since about 1986, called neuro-linguistic programming. Now they make it really, really technical, and it's mainly for psychologists, but if you can get in it and learn some of its precepts, it would be very, very valuable to you. And I'm a source for that. Anybody who wants to contact me, I know about that quite extensively. Neuro-linguistic programming. Tony Robbins teaches it as neuro-associative conditioning. Again,
One of the girls such verbal people. You spend 5 or 10 minutes a day just being quiet, not listening to things, not reading, not answering the phone, not talking to anybody, just sit and breathe and be quiet.
how many people meditate? How many people would like to learn how to meditate in about 30 seconds? Okay. Being quiet. A quiet mind does a number of things. Physiologically proven in tests, mainly by the people that teach transcendental meditation, the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Scientifically proven that a quiet mind heals unhealed broken bones. A quiet mind solves problems, allows solutions to come to the fore. It calms you. You will have less anger in your life. The easiest form of meditation I have ever heard by Dr. Wayne Dyer, he said, sit quietly, close your eyes, picture a shot clock. Many people know what an NBA shot clock is. Okay? In basketball, you've got, after you get the ball, you've got 24 seconds to make a shot. And if you don't, then the other team gets the ball. Picture the shot clock, 24. Hold that 24 for 20 seconds, then let it go to 23. And progressively down until you get to 1. Now, if you get a thought other than the number, go back and start over. So you concentrate on the number, and all other thought goes away except for that, and that's a form of meditation that quiets your mind. You don't have to sit cross-legged. You can do it sitting anywhere. You can do it sitting in your car. I guarantee you that if you practice meditation every day, your anger level will lower. Ask my wife. I ran around, I get mad at the kids or something like that. She says, have you been meditating lately? No, it's been like 7 or 8 days. She said, would you please go? Really, it is so wonderfully effective to quiet your mind. Your creativity will abound. Just wonderful things will come to you if you meditate every day or a couple times a week, whenever you can. You watch. You just do that one time. You'll see how much better you feel. In fact, if you take nothing more away from this than meditation and the rebounder, you will have received so many times return on your investment for spending the hour and a half here. I just can't explain it. It is just incredible. Another suggestion.
I want to say something else about the headset. I don't go to my chiropractor anywhere near as much.
Ah,
Because we're on the phone. Really, I resisted paying that $180 that money. I spent 80 and got a good one, and it's worn out tool.
yeah, worn out ear.
You can't find those ear things. Do you know where you can get them?
Yeah, you can buy them at Fred Meyer. Yeah, you can buy replacement headpieces at Fred
I
Meyer.
used wasn't covering, but what I wanted to say other than that was it's important to do service work that's not in your field. Something completely outside.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. It's important to do service work that is not your field. Community
Basically,
service.
selfless community service of some sort.
Give to someone else. Make it a point. Make it a point. It's okay to roll down your window and give the person that has a homeless sign $5. I promise you do it, you'll feel better. That's my philosophy, my personal philosophy. Other people think they ought to get a job. Well, maybe that is their job. In fact, it takes quite a bit of fortitude to stand out there and do that. And when you look at it from that particular perspective, maybe if you had a different reference for that, maybe if you realized that that was a woman whose children were at school and that's the only time that she could get out there, she couldn't find a job that she could work in the hours because she couldn't afford the child care too, maybe you'd think $5 would help her. You know, and so you can actually, I think you can tell by the look on their face personally as to whether they really need your help, whether they need your support, or whether they're just hanging out for an easy buck and people will give it to them. I like to think that I can look and see, is that person really in need or not? I might be wrong.
Important to remember that failure is not final.
Absolutely.
If you fail at a task, whether it be diet or a habit or whatever the case may be, go back and do it again.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you very, very much. That's one of the most important things. Make a mistake. I'm here. I get to be an authority because I've been doing this for 28 years. That means I probably made more mistakes than most people in this room because I've had more time than Graham making mistakes and learning from them. And a mistake is an opportunity to learn. In every adversity is the seed of a greater and more beneficial event or benefit. In every adversity is the seed of a greater benefit If you don't think that something goes wrong, isn't going wrong for a reason, and that you have a lesson to learn from it, step back, and think about that. Come over here to your common sense corner and say, why did that happen? Did I cause it? Did somebody else cause it? Was it my reaction? Was it my filters? Was it my psychology that caused me to think that way about what they did? Gee, nobody else around here seems to be bothered by it. So, thank you very much, Graham, because when something goes wrong, it's an opportunity to grow every single time. Welcome it. Embrace it as an opportunity to figure out what it is that you can grow from. How you can grow. It's better English. Anybody else? Okay. If I may indulge each one of you to pull out your business cards, I would like one, please. Everybody, even those of you who I know. And I have been wearing a personal tape recorder. And if the tape turns out, I'm going to make them available for $12. And if you or anybody of you would, anybody you know would like a copy of one, just write tape, send it to your right, and I will send them to you with a bill. And you can pay it if you like it, and you don't have to pay it if you don't like it. Absolute guarantee that I believe, it's my commitment to you, that for $12, that there's an idea that you can be reminded of that will return to you many-fold that amount. And it's my commitment to you to give you that value. If you don't think you got it from the tape, I'll find some way to get you that value. We are 2:30, and we're scheduled to go for another 5 minutes. Jeff Lyon.
I have the verification cards for the clock hour.
Oh, okay. There are some.
All these are 15.
Selling them. We have verification cards for clock hours, and Jeff Lyon has them. Would you like me to pass them out now? Or you'll pass them out, but make sure you see Jeff. Jeff, you
Charge them. You can't afford it.
Huh?
We can't afford it if we do it.
You can't afford it. Huh? Anyway, if you want to take, that's extra, and it's a stretch for me to do it, but I'd be more than happy to do it, and there is a cost to it. And I'm not high-tech set up, I can't run 100 or 200 of these, so I'm sitting at home dubbing them at night, so I'll be happy to provide you with them if you would like. With that, I thank you very, very much for the opportunity to share with you some of the things that I've learned. I didn't cover a third of what I have prepared for you, so I hope you have the opportunity to talk to you further.